genetic experiment, cloning, world domination, and Pokemon! Hello, I'm XRTT, and today I will be talking about the Pokemon, the first movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back, on the occasion of the 25 years of this English premiere. Of course, mainly about the truth elements of this movie, but also overall about the movie, because it's absolutely my favorite Pokemon movie. So, let's begin. This film has its Japanese premiere on July 18, 1998. The English premiere took place 25 years ago, counting from the day of the premiere of this recording, on November 10th, 1999. For the premiere in my country, Poland, fans had to wait a little longer, until February 9, 2001. My first contact with this film was problematic. I didn't have the opportunity to watch it, so it has a very solid element of added mystery. I know the beginning of the story, but only that. I had the comic book, the Polish edition, but only the first issue, so only the first quarter of the story, from the awakening of Mewtwo. The prologue which I will talk about was not there. In the video on the occasion of the 25th anniversary of TCG, I mentioned how I looked at the sealed VHS tape in the store, both for the idea of watching the film itself and for the promo card with Mewtwo attached to it, which to this day is one of my favorite Pokemon card artworks. Apart from the comic, the second form of contact, which also added to the mystery, was the anime I watched. Mewtwo appears there in 3 episodes. Initially, for the Japanese market, these episodes were supposed to precede the premiere of the film and be a bit of a teaser for the character of Mewtwo. However, due to the events caused by episode 38, an episode with Polygon that has never been published in English and which caused many children in Japan to have epileptic seizures, the release of new episode was suspended for 4 months, and the film was released as planned, so we got the film first and only then the episodes. In the American version, believing the dates of Wikipedia, 3 episodes were broadcast in September 1999, and the film hit cinemas in November 1999. So here, they managed to keep the order of Mewtwo appearances in accordance with the creator's intentions. According to the Polish Wikipedia, this order was also kept here. The episodes were released in January 2001, and the film hit cinemas in February of the same year. Mewtwo is first seen in episode 63, the Battle of the Badge, where Gary fights in the Powder Town gym. Gary uses Nidoking, which defeats Giovanni's Golem. In the second round, Gary uses Arcanine, which knocks out the gym's leader Kingler. Giovanni then states that he will test the most powerful Pokemon and use the mysterious creature hidden in the armor, which easily defeats both of Gary's Pokemon. Giovanni also says things like, "It's the ultimate Pokemon that can never be defeated." Mewtwo's name is not mentioned in the episode. In the next episode, 64, it's Mr. Mime time. Mewtwo has more of a cameo when Jessie, James and Meow task with Giovanni via voice call. Mewtwo is standing in the background. In episode 65, Showdown at the Poke Corral, Jessie, James and Meow arrives at Team Rocket headquarters, which explodes and we see Mewtwo flying away. Another event known from the movie. And that's the end of Mewtwo participation in the series, at least as far as the premiere of the first movie is concerned. In the season Pokemon Journeys, the series, in episode 36, which is also the 1131 episode of the Pokemon animated series overall, titled Getting More Than You Planned For, we meet Mewtwo again. Ash and the other main characters go meet him and fight him. For me, the 10-minute short Origin of Mewtwo is an integral and mega important part of the film, but initially, the film hit theaters without it. In my opinion, it was worse version. Just as I consider the extended edition of Aliens to be the proper version, I can't imagine watching Mewtwo Strikes Back without this introduction. It sets the tone for the whole thing. I'm a very sensitive person. These scenes break my heart and also gives Mewtwo an interesting motivation. You also look completely differently at the final forms of the starters, Venusaur, Blastoise and Charizard, cloned by Mewtwo, which are not cloned from kidnapped Pokemon of the trainers who made into the island. The snap scene from Avengers Infinity War pales in comparison to a quite similar scene from this prologue. In my opinion, of course. I've always been a Pokemon fan that could be described as anime first. I like how powerful Mewtwo is here, and how equally powerful but innocent, at least in the English version, Mew is. In console games or card games, there has to be a balance. The number of times my Blastoise-centered deck knock out working in a tag team Mew and Mewtwo is big, like hundreds of times. Continuing on with my personal experience, I also took one of Mewtwo's lines from the English version to heart, his final reflection.
I see now that the circumstances of one's birth are irrelevant. It is what you do with the gift of life that determines who you are.
I suspect that most people come across this film in the English version. And I mean most in the sense that other regional versions, like the Polish one, the translation, content-wise, is based, as far as I know, on the English version and not the original. And the differences are significant. In the original version, Mewtwo is more focused on searching for his identity, on the question "Who am I?", on the value of clones. While in the English version, he is a much more clearly negative character, wanting to dominate, destroy the world. There are many differences in the dubbing. Some are minor, such as adding a joke. In the Japanese version, Jessie says that they have frying pan, and Meowth points out that without meat or vegetables, it's just a piece of iron. While in the English dubbing, a joke was added here. Meowth says that the last time she cooked, he lost 8 of his 9 lives. But there are also significant changes. In the Japanese dub, Mewtwo believes that his Pokémon are better because of how they were created. In the English dub, he directly says that they are better because they have other superpowers, and this is an indisputable fact. And before the battle of other Pokémon, he blocks these additional super abilities with his psychic powers, which in my opinion changes a lot. The ending itself is of course also different. In the original version, we don't get that bit I quoted about the circumstances of one's birth being irrelevant. For me, the ending in the original seems too quick. Ash enters between two fighters. Mewtwo decides that there is no point in fighting after all, erase everyone's memory and flash away with his Pokémon. As usual, 2 words about turtles in this movie. And we get many of them. First of all, in the prologue we have Squirtle 2, he have a solid part. Then throughout the movie we have Squirtle trained by Ash in many scenes. After reaching New Island, we have 3 additional turtle Pokémon. One is Blastoise 2, cloned by Mewtwo. The other is Blastoise trained by Nisha, his name is Shellshocker, and finally Ash Squirtle is cloned and his clone appears. The Squirtle clones fight the original, and Blastoise 2 fights Shellshocker. This is the most turtle movie of all the Pokémon movies ever made. The film resulted in many additional things. Film-wise, the first special Pokémon movie, not listed in the cinema distribution, called Mewtwo Returns, was released in 2000 and is a sequel to this one. After 20 years, in Japan in 2019 and in the US in 2020, we also got a kind of remake, Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution. Plot-wise, it's basically the same movie, but with the use of CGI, as you can see on the screen. The first live-action movie, Detective Pikachu, can also be considered as a movie referring the Mewtwo Strikes Back. Of course, we also get comics, manga, books, a special set of Topps cards. Even in the regular TCG we got a few cards. I'm talking about cards that clearly refer to the movie. Mewtwo itself is one of the most popular Pokémon, and as such appears on a lot of cards regularly, and of course in other merch, in a lot of other merch. That's all for now. Thank you for watching. Leave a like and subscribe if you liked it, and I hope to see you again in the next video. Bye!